Hey besties, I would like to welcome you back on episode 2 of the Mindful Growth and Wholesomeness Podcast, hosted by your girl, Leendy _M. Leendy Musina. So today we are going to be speaking about that quote that says, turning your breakdowns into breakthroughs. We are talking about all things feeling whole, as this is also a part of the podcast and a part of the title of the podcast. You feeling whole, you feeling complete, you feeling as though, you know what? You are just getting your life together every single day. You use it as an opportunity to step closer to your purpose, to fulfill your vision, to take those tiny steps to create the life of your dreams, and to allow God to really enter into your heart, mind, and soul and steer you forward through healing, through life's difficulties, and just finding ways to grow and to have a stable mind and a good mental health. So I have written down a few points that have assisted me in moments where I felt a bit low and I felt as if I was just stuck in the same cycle, so I really do hope that I am able to assist you. I am able to cater to your needs, and I'm able to spark that thought of positivity in your life, and that I'm able to really plant seeds of growth and spark thoughts and ideas in your mind that encourage you to improve your life one way or another on your road to wholesomeness, growth, just being mindful, and your overall health as a human being holistically. Not just speaking about physical health, but speaking about your mental health, your emotional health, and everything in between, period. So let's get straight into it, right? So the first point that I would like to make is analyze your feelings and identify that you actually do need the healing, that you really do need to heal from certain things, and that you really do feel broken. Identify it, because how will you possibly heal what you do not expose, what you do not reveal to yourself? How do you expect to heal? How do you expect to fix what you don't know needs fixing? And you doing that, you could probably expose that to yourself through journaling. That's why journaling is encouraged, because it helps you identify your needs and identify the things that you need to work on in your emotions and in your mind, right? Okay. I'm thinking of giving you a backstory before actually getting into the how to overcome. Okay, so let me spill my tea. So I'm just going to give you a brief idea of what happened. I don't think you really care about the detail. I don't know. But literally, there was a point in my life where I found myself just breaking down, like just constantly feeling sad, feeling depressed, feeling anxious. And as much as I'm a person who believes in God, there are moments where I really did feel like things are just spiraling out of control and I don't know how to overcome them. And I had two choices, right? The first choice was to allow myself to rest in that pity party and to rest in that feeling of turmoil and just a whole lot of negative feelings, and give up on my life and give up on myself, and entertain the suicidal thoughts and try again to deal with when you start putting in action in the negative things. For example, you try to numb the pain with substances or with things, or sometimes you could do that through just thinking negatively, like constantly being addicted to a negative cycle, and then when good things come into your life, you reject them because you feel like it's just too good to be true, because you're so used to the negativity happening, right? So literally, that was choice number one. Choice number two was allowing myself to go through those emotions and see beyond it, and not overlook the good things that are happening, that I still have life, that I still have breath, that I still have a family that loves me, that I still have friends who care about me, that I still have, things that I've prayed about, certain areas of my life I am winning. Because I have realized that as people, we have a tendency of comparing our lives, and sometimes we compare just aspects of our lives with other people. I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a friend who's succeeding in their career and you feel like you're a bit stuck in your career, or you don't know what you need to do. For those who may be in high school and on matric and are still trying to figure out life, you don't know, and people are seem to have their life together in that aspect, but they are struggling spiritually, or their mental health is not in a good space. Because I'll give you an example. There was a friend of mine, or there is a friend of mine, who experienced this, though not anymore, who prayed her way to getting a job. She cried, she went through everything. Then when she finally got the job, her life really changed for the worst, according to her description and how she felt and everything. Depression kicked in, anxiety kicked in, and she was just not satisfied in those areas of her life. Yes, she may be flourishing financially, but emotionally and mentally, things were not good for her in that sense. So you could be thriving in certain aspects of your life, but you're only comparing different aspects, an aspect where you feel you're weakest in that particular season. So that is what I'm getting to. The point I'm trying to make is you don't know what they're going through and how the other aspects are. So scratch out this whole comparison thing. You focus on trying to be well holistically, and if you feel like you're not getting what you're praying for, just try your best to pray and to just sit in that season with the Lord, because you don't know what He's trying to plant in you, get out of you, strengthen in you. Because we can't deny the fact that sometimes when you get what you're praying for, you might not even be ready for what you've prayed for. And most people step out and their relationship with God now goes down simply because God has blessed them with what they wanted, and now they begin to idolize that particular prayer or blessing, that prayer that was answered. So what point was I trying to make again? We're going to have a lot of those, by the way. But yeah, man, that's just what I was trying to say. That understand that everyone has different seasons, and their highs are their highs and their lows are their lows. Your highs are your highs and your lows are your lows. But it doesn't mean that you need to compare their high with your lows and now call your whole entire life bad. My best friend once told me that a bad day doesn't equal a bad life. Literally. And we have a tendency of thinking our whole life is bad if we just experience a bad day, right? So let's scratch that out. Okay, kings and queens, that's on period. Let's go to step number 2. So I had to write points because I know myself, child. I mean, look at what just happened. I tend to literally lose the points and literally just end up having a story time. So I made sure that I stick to the plan. Let's get to number 2. Number 2 is understand that your wholeness is not attached to people or materialistic things. Oftentimes we attach our wholeness to when we will have something, or when we have someone, or whatever the case is, and that's not true. That's not true. It may contribute towards a sense of joy or a sense of fulfillment, but it won't necessarily fulfill you. Let's talk examples, right? You've always eyed that jean. You finally have it. It's sitting in your cupboard and you're not whole. Will it make you whole? Will a pair of shoes make you whole? Will a car make you whole? Yes, it can make your life easier, but how many people do we know have all the materialistic things they desire, but they don't have that sense of peace and contentment in their heart? You know what I'm talking about? So let's avoid attaching our wholeness and our sense of identity to things that I'm only going to be, happy if I have this or that. Then you have that thing and it's just sitting in your closet and you don't see the value in it anymore. So it's proof that things will not make you feel whole. They can make your life easier, but they just won't make you whole. right? That wholeness it stems from somewhere else, and we're going to get into that. Okay, so avoid attaching your wholeness, your identity, your sense of being, your sense of self to things and people, because people come and go, friendships come and go, people promise to stay but they end up leaving. Sometimes you choose to detach, sometimes life happens and you outgrow each other and life goes on. Now, does that mean you're no longer who you were and you no longer have sense of purpose or value, or your destiny is now down the drain because a person left your life? That is the big lie from the pit of hell, child, and you need to step out of that way of thinking. And that's what I had to learn. Okay, so I'm not crucifying you. I had to crucify myself, child, and literally get rid of this mindset. And that's what got me to this point where I'm able to sit and talk to you rather from a healed place, or from a place where I can say I finally overcame it. Because I feel like it would kind of defeat the purpose to talk to you about something that I'm still dealing with. Yes, moments do come where it gets a bit rough, you know what I mean, but I was able to pull myself out of the trenches, and with God, obviously God's help and everything, and now I'm literally sharing how I managed to get out of that, in order to inspire you, period. Okay, and number 3 is understand that wholeness starts from within. And this is where I was going to, that you need to understand that wholeness comes from within. That feeling of wholeness, you feeling like you're enough, you feeling as if all you need is already in here. That is enough. Striving to be emotionally independent in a way. Yes, there's certain people who contribute positively in your life, and we tend to be addicted to that feeling. So try and give yourself that feeling. So if it's not reciprocated from people, or if if that's the energy you give them and they don't give it to you, you don't feel as if there's something missing and that you're not enough. You start questioning your worth, right? Just because people aren't reciprocating the energies and the love that you give them. So the moment you define that for yourself and you are that to yourself, the moment someone slips up and doesn't give it to you, you won't now feel as if you are so worthless just because someone does not show you a certain emotion. Let's talk examples, right? For example, you get into a relationship and you just expect that appreciation, to receive that appreciation from someone. And let's say they're not necessarily a person who will literally just appreciate you and say words of appreciation all the time. Oh, I appreciate you, you're beautiful, you're this, you this, you that. You doing that for yourself and being that person for yourself, you won't seek that from other people. You know what I mean? You won't now people please. You won't become a people pleaser, just to get that validation from people, because you validate yourself, you validate your emotions, you validate you as a person. All right, so that comes from within. So cultivate a relationship with yourself, and that will literally solve majority of your problems, because now you won't expect people to do everything. The moment they slip up, you're like, oh, it's cool, I can still be there for myself. You're able to have conversations with yourself, to journal. That's why it's called self-help. That's why there's a term called self-help, that when you feel some type of way, you look within yourself and you try and find the way to really get through, the turmoil and the pain and all of that stuff that life tends to throw at us at whatever season, whatever age, whatever given time. There will always be something that you're going through. So trying to find the strength to center yourself and still feel whole, feel enough, feel complete by yourself, and not wait for someone else to validate you and make you feel whole. You know what I mean? Right. Let's go to the next point. The next one is learn how to forgive yourself from past mistakes. This one can be really heavy, because if you knew better, you would do better. But what happens if you knew better but you just didn't do better? You know what I mean? I feel like that's pain is a bit different. It's a bit intense. So forgive yourself for those moments, for when you knew better but you just didn't do better and it haunts you, or it's still haunting you now. Forgive yourself for the past, because at the end of the day, from today, you have some days, some years, some months left of your life, and you don't know how long you have, how much time you have left. So why carry that pain every single day? Every single day you're holding on to that pain or whatnot. If you're triggered, identify and acknowledge that you were triggered by something that happened in the past and have that conversation. There really is power in speaking to yourself and speaking out loud and just saying, saying your name out loud and saying, I forgive you. I forgive you for A, B, and C. If you feel like you've entered into certain things prematurely, forgive yourself. If you feel like you haven't shown up for yourself, in many times in your life, forgive yourself for moments like that. Forgive yourself, right? Acknowledge and then forgive and then let it go, because we're so quick to forgive other people, but what about you? Because you're also a person. You also do deserve that level of grace that you extend to others. The next point is allow yourself to feel the emotions. Break down if you have to. So if you're in a season of breaking down or a moment of breaking down, whatever, you're in a season that you don't really know what is going on and everything just feels like it's crushing down, identify that, acknowledge that, because like I said earlier, how will you heal from something you don't reveal to yourself? It just doesn't make sense, so allow yourself to feel. If you feel like crying, cry. If you feel like, just pouring your heart out and weeping and crying to someone or crying to God, literally just cry. Allow yourself to feel those emotions, because suppressing them, child, that's not gonna work. Suppressing them never ever works, because at some point in time there will be one tiny little trigger and everything will just explode. Now you'll ask yourself, how did I get here? You'll ask yourself, how did I get to this point? But it's because you've been suppressing so many feelings and emotions. So allow yourself to feel. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to weep, weep. If you want to have that bitterly, that ugly cry, child, cry. Okay, let it all go. Offload. Just let it go. Period. Number 6 is allow your breakdown to turn into a breakthrough, right? And this literally is what's going to help you. Just allow that breakdown to turn into a breakthrough, right? And you do that by allowing yourself not to live there. It's so easy to live there, child, where you remind yourself every single day with Konje, this is the case, this is the situation, this is what's going on. Don't live there. Allow that moment to pass, think about it this way. Where it don't rain, there won't be no flowers, right? Allow yourself to offload, let go, cry, and you will see. Just make sure you don't live in that moment where now you become a depressed person. It was just a moment. It was just a day. Allow the next day to be better. Allow the sun to shine after the rain. Allow yourself to see the beauty in life and in people and in yourself. Redefine what makes you happy. If you've attached your happiness to things, change that. You have all the power in the world to change that. Must remember, you were given the power to make decisions and the power of choice. So use that power to benefit your life and your mind and your spirit and your soul. All right. So there are different spirits that roam around and that influence your feelings and emotions. Think about self-sabotage on its own. Why would you as a person every single day commit yourself to self-sabotage? Being addicted to feelings and emotions that contribute negatively towards your growth. That alone is a spirit, but that's a conversation for another day and another video, because there's so much to unpack there. There is so much to eat, to talk about, to expose, and to feed our souls from there. And we're going to get into that on another episode. But for now, try not to live there. Okay. And last but not least, wholeness comes from rediscovering your identity in God and not in people or pop culture. I'm going to make an example with myself, right? I used to listen to a certain type of, genre and music that I began to attach my identity to, right? So that whole city girl era, once again, I'm going to get into detail in another video, but that city girl energy, that hot girl summer, all of that. Yes, for me at that time, I liked the aesthetic and stuff, but now I was beginning to attach my identity to that type of person, You know what I mean? So that all has to change, but I'll get into detail on another episode because once again, there is just so much to unpack. So the point I'm trying to make is that you rediscovering your identity, looking deep within your spirit to know what you are really a child of God. You have a creator. You didn't just show up in this world. You have a creator. There's a reason why God chose you in your mother's womb to continue to carry and to breathe life into that purpose that he has for you. You know, that desire that is in your heart that you're waking up every day to try and fulfill.
Yeah, so your peace, your sense of wholeness comes from the Lord, not from people, not from things, not from music, not from pop culture, not from anything in this world. Matter of fact, 9 times out of 10, most of the things in this world literally can pull you away from who you are in God, right? So we are going to get into that in another episode. This episode, I literally just wanted to show you ways and to show you that it really is possible to step out of that space of just feeling as though you're not enough, you're not whole enough, you're not, you know, just that lie, that narrative that you keep listening to or that keeps showing up, you know, through certain decisions that you've made in the past. Now you beat yourself up and you don't feel enough, you know. If you've just entered in spaces and you've done things and you expose yourself to things and you didn't stand up for yourself, it's for those moments where you knew better but you didn't do better. It's for those moments where you feel like you've given up yourself and your purity too early. You didn't show up for yourself and you just want to pick up the pieces and start again. You know, it's never too late to start again. You know, just listen to this and by tomorrow, whenever, just allow yourself to feel the emotions and step out of it. Don't allow it to be your life. Don't allow it to be a part of your everyday life, and don't live in it. You know, you are really able to snap out of it, to step out of it, or rather not even snap out of it, to go through it and get a breakthrough. You know, so allow that breakdown to turn into a breakthrough, because it really is possible. You are really able to step out of that negative way of thinking and feeling. It is highly possible. I am telling you, girl, I am telling you, child, it is possible. You just need to step into yourself, your soul, your spirit, who you are at your core, despite the materialistic things that you find yourself defining yourself by. No, you're not defined by the things around you, because those things perish. So when this thing comes and go, do you come and go with it? No, you still stay with yourself. So detach your identity of the things that you can see, you know, and understand that the Lord is the one who will be able to give you a new name and make you feel whole and heal the broken parts of your life, because he is your creator. Whether you believe or not, you were chosen, you were created to really fulfill a purpose. You were trusted with this gift of life, you know. So try not to live in the negative, you know, in the negative, you know, the negative self-talk, all those things. Yes, it's not easy to snap out of it, but it really is possible to step out of that way of thinking. So I really do hope that I was able to just plant or drop a seed in your life, in your mind, you know, that really encourages you to heal, to expose and be aware of what is happening in your mind, heart, and soul, because that's what this podcast is really about. You know what I mean? And I could have literally made it about anything in this world, but I literally wanted my space, or this space, to just plant seeds of positivity in your life, right? And yeah, as you've noticed, I forgot to say actually, as you've noticed, I've changed the name of my podcast. It was first Mindful Growth and Wellness, and I've decided that I'm gonna call it Wholesomeness, because, you know, the whole video explains it for those who are watching on YouTube, and the whole podcast or episode literally explains it for those who are listening to this on Spotify. With that being said, we've reached the end of our video, and yeah, to conclude everything and to summarize everything, and I promise this time I am really concluding and summarizing, okay? I'm just gonna say that it is okay to go through those down, painful moments. Life happens, bad news comes, so allow yourself to experience and feel the emotions, but just don't live there. Allow yourself to see, to believe, and to observe and express your gratitude and love for the goodness and the glory that is around your life, the family that loves you, the friends who support you, the job you can wake up to and finance your lifestyle, finance your life, the school you go to better yourself, to better your mind, all the little blessings that you have, that you've experienced, all those many blessings and those big ones. Look at them, analyze them, I magnify them, and you will see that really the negatives really just come and go. It's gonna stay if you give it power to stay. You know what I mean? You are made in the image and the likeness of God. He was able to breathe his life into you, to breathe his breath into you, and to give life to you. If you are made in his likeness and in his image, it means there's certain characteristics and qualities that are in him that are in you, which means you have the power to breathe life into goodness or into badness, into positivity or negativity. You choose. Be like me. Be like you in the past, where you made a choice to choose goodness, hence you're still here. You could have ended your life years ago, but you chose to hold on to hope. Think about it. Once again, think about that bad time in your life. You made it through. You believed in hope. You held on to hope. You believed that things are gonna get better, and they did eventually. So period. Without saying anything more, I'd like to just conclude everything and just thank you for really joining me. And until the next time, okay? And just to give a mini disclaimer, my videos aren't going to be serious all the time, with keynotes and all of that. You know what I mean? But we just have to get certain things out the way first, because people are really going through it. So I was like, you know what? Let's do what we gotta do. With that being said, I'm gonna see you on episode 3. For those watching on YouTube, kindly subscribe, and those listening on Spotify, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I'm so grateful. I'm grateful to you. And if you have anything to say, don't be afraid to share your thoughts in the comment section down below. It's free. You can do it, child. And looking forward to spending more time with you. We are gonna talk in episode 3. Enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, your morning.